And it has nothing to do with the woman herself as far as being black, but perhaps the woman's character, right? Taste of Love is saying how the good guys roll over to the good guys. What did she say? So the good guys roll over to who gravitate towards them, which are women of other races.
Taste of Love is a guy. It's Taste of Love.
No, it's a woman. It's a woman. I'm reading the comment as I'm responding. Yeah. So salute to everybody too. But what I'm saying is that we look for character more so than content, right? And it's not so much based on race. So if a black man ends up with a woman of another race, 9 out of 10 times is not because of the color of skin of the woman, but the character of the woman. You know what I mean? She's more kinder in how she interacts with this man, and you know what I'm saying? The man, so it's not always about a black woman so much so as maybe the black woman herself and her character. Because most of us could care less about your finances, how much money you make, how independent you are, you know what I'm saying? Because if we're gonna come together, is not because of any other reason, but because we find a common interest to want to work together. You know what I mean? So finances, good to have it together and all that, but that's secondary to you saying you just want a good man, and a good man saying they just want a good woman. The question becomes, are you a good woman? And do you define what a good woman is, or does the man who's seeking a wife define what his version of that woman is? You know what I'm saying? Because you could say, I'm this and I'm that. But what are you to that man that you want to be with? You know what I mean? How does he look at you? You know what I'm saying? So I think that's more of the conversation.
It doesn't even get to that part. I'm talking about getting there. Like, it's not even getting there. It's like the communication or the dating process.
So
like, around that.
Let's start with level one. What defines success? And you're successful in your career, right? So you being successful in your career, or you have a successful career, or you're
so that's not the point. Like, I get that you guys don't care about how much money a woman has and stuff. My original thing, and what I kind of am like, the disconnect is why. Well, I mean, I guess I can answer my own question. People just need
to Mr. Bowlegged, what you got? Mr.
Bowlegged.
All right.
Black men want to be cared for.
I'll just say this in a simple form to answer your question. You asked originally, why do we don't like, or I guess a better way of saying we don't like our own women. We love y'all. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for y'all. That's a physical fact. We had to come through the leg. We had to come through the legs of a black woman. We're here. So clearly we love y'all. Two things. One, if we don't feel at peace or rest with you, we won't reside with you. Simple as that. Just don't try to make an equation out of it. Don't try to make an assumption as to why don't you love me. If I can't be at peace or rest with you, I won't come to you, because I'm you think, remember when you was a little kid and your parents was upset and you pushed back? That's the same way. It's never going to change. The second thing, this is the most critical thing I learned today. And I heard this randomly when I was just scrolling through my timeline. And a dude was like, most women just care about a man's future, but the man just generally cares about the woman's past. So take what you want from that. If I see your past is so destructive and you're bringing that to me and I have to fix that, all I need you to do, if I'm willing to accept that burden, be my peace. Let me come to you.
What if you don't have that burden? What if you don't have that? Like, that's not the issue.
If you don't have that destructive past, then we should be on the same accord. Simple as that. It's the little things we take for granted, right? So if it's
I think it's just the courting process. I'm talking about like courting. Like you guys are talking about like when you guys kind of are getting together. I'm talking about getting together.
Most relationships in the beginning of courting still resides to the fact that you still need to be at peace with that person. You need to be able to come to them. I hear so many complaints about communication honesty, being able to be responsible, being, mature and all of this. Remember, that's building a resume. I can't come to you with a blank piece of paper, right? I have to come to you with some sort of experience, some sort of like knowledge. But if you're not willing to accept that, if you're talking about courting, I have to do the interview, right? I have to stand before you. You have to analyze me. I got to analyze you. Okay, this is what you're bringing. This is what I'm bringing. Okay, are you okay with this? Are you okay with that? I'm okay with this. We're basically understanding. We have to come to some sort of an agreement. So you can't have it your way and take out the pieces that you only want for me to, give to you. You got to be willing to understand, like, yo, I got some wounds. I'm in the battlefield, but I'm coming to you because I know you can fix it. Now I'm willing to provide, take care, make sure you straight. You ain't got to ever worry about nothing. And the one thing my grandfather taught me, when a man is motivated by his woman, he will literally move a mountain. He will find obstacles that he didn't even know existed to do those things. But how can I reach my potential if you're not willing to help me see it first? What if my blind spots can only be seen by you? But you're so focused on the courting process and how I bring you into me, you're not focusing on how am I receiving you or how are you receiving me? We're blinded by each other's ambitions, but we're not focused on each other's visions. Simple. So if you feel like we don't love you, we love y'all. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for y'all. Simple as that. But don't think for a second that we won't look the other way because they treating Jose over there pretty good. Shoot, that's pretty nice. Tom over here is doing pretty great. Well,
so what as a man are you willing to do?
Willing to do as in what?
I mean, you're like, well, she's treating Jose better, so what is
like I said, I'm sorry, I apologize. I don't mean to cut anybody off. Like I said earlier, if a man is motivated by his woman,
he's willing to move mountains.
If he can go to her and he can be at peace and rest with her, he'll do whatever he needs to do to take care of her and him and make the family better.
What is she requiring him to do?
Well, then why do you think they say never go into anything with basically high expectations that are not achievable? You shouldn't place unnecessary expectations on a person if you know that person head to toe. So that's like me and Miss Didi been in a relationship for 10 years, and all of a sudden she's like, I need you to start making 10,000 or 40,000. And I'm like, wait a minute. We agreed on this contract. Why are you escalating it to another height that we didn't talk about? You just hit me with an unknown asterisk. So now I gotta either do one or two things. Either I gotta stand my ground and say, no, we're gonna stay where we at, or two, I gotta meet that requirement. Now I'm on her terms. We're not on our terms anymore.
So what am I being asked to do?
What do you mean? What are you being asked to do?
You're saying like, yeah. As not just specifically.
I go into dating. I try not to have any expectations. I've cleared up my shit in the past, and I've worked on myself. And I kind of want the same thing. Somebody that's not going to bring their baggage to me. Someone that's not going to expect me to fix them. Like, a lot of men are like, younger men especially, oh, I like older women because y'all have y'all stuff together. And they attracted to the women because we can fix shit. I can fix some shit. And that's a skill that I have that I'm willing to give to the right one. But it's like it's expected off jump. Like I've got to prove already automatically out the gate my loyalty, my all this, my all that for you or whoever to say, oh, well, we'll see. And I just, that's just how it is.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I feel like with sisters, because we dealing with the dopest women on the planet, there's more hoops for us to jump through. And some of the requirements, like Be Grateful said, the smallest majority speak the loudest. So basically, when we in society, I'm just elaborating on what Be Grateful said. Well, in society, I think the most the most I guess the train. It's kind of like watching the train wreck. That's what gets the most attention. But I don't think necessarily like when you say most black men don't want black women. That is absolutely
I
false.
didn't say that. I didn't say most black men don't want most black. I said I think that black men are angry with black women.
Right.
Angry black men.
That is not necessarily true. I think recently
No, I said black men are angry with black women, not angry black men.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I could say that, but that's not what I said.
Yeah, I think recently there's been a call for some type of accountability for some of the requirements that black women have had for black men, and because a lot of y'all achieve a lot, but at the same time there's like, so I'm in the middle when it comes to that. Like some will be like, okay, we don't care about your success as far as like your financial, your education. We don't really care a whole lot about that. But at the same time, it's like, what is that saying about black men when we can't meet y'all at where y'all at? You know what I'm saying? So there for me personally, it's a little bit of room. It's a little bit of, I guess.
It's kind of like a catch-22 a little bit. It's like a double-edged sword in a way.
Yeah, because you kind of got to require brothers to be like, hey, bro, you need to step up and meet this sister. At least, if not halfway, at least meet her where she at. Because if you dating outside of because that's important to our sisters. At the same time, you got to be a type of woman that a brother needs to want a wife. So if all you is, like man of God said, if all you care is about your house, your education, how much money you got, like bro, like I don't really.
But I'm sorry, I was gonna say, Miss Didi, if you don't mind me asking this one question that I was curious about when you asked the original question, if you can give me your honest opinion from your perspective, what would you say is more suitable, especially in this generation of now? Would you rather have someone that's already established, or would you rather have someone you could build with?
So I feel as though you should already be established because I'm already established, and we should both be established, building more, better together.
But established as in what? Like, and
Well,
don't.
you established as in what, Mr. Bowlegged? What does established mean?
So as far as and feel free to quote me on this. So from what I understand in this generation, I'm a '92 baby, so I've heard the requirements all the way up to now, and some things have changed, some things have stayed the same. But the most that I've heard is he needs to make more money than me. He needs to have his own house, car. He needs to have these things, all these materials. I'm not gonna go down the list, but he needs to have these majority things in order for me to be there to like back him. So I'm only listing off the basics, like the financial means, of course. He needs to have, the materialistic things. Job needs to be completely up to date. He needs to have no kids, no baby mamas. He needs to have his shit together. So those little basic requirements, and he's meeting all of them. So if he's established on that bracket, that's suitable, correct? Is that suitable in your opinion? Or is that not really
those aren't my requirements, but if if it was my requirements and he met them, then yeah, okay, that'd be cool. But I don't go by what you say. I got my own.
No, I'm just, like I said, I'm listening off basics. I don't know yours.
But yeah, like if he's established and I'm established, I mean, men don't mind,
But what do you mean? But what do you mean established? So what?
Well, he said established by his standards is.
So I'm asking you, what do you mean established?
Right.
Okay, I have my own place. I have a car.
You own your own place.
Yeah, I'm buying it now. I just moved.
Okay. So that's what we're trying to clarify.
Right. So listen, you don't have to have your own place. Just take care of yourself. Take care of your responsibilities. Okay. That's it. I don't care like how you do it, as long as it's legal. You know what I mean? But just do it.
So let me ask you this. What qualities of a woman do you think a man would like?
I think that men like submissive women to a certain extent. A man doesn't want a mouthy woman who's gonna, be all. I don't know. Some men do. Who knows? This is what I think. I think men like submissive women. A man wants to be the leader. He wants someone to, cater to him and cook for him and think with him and do all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
we like
of the
slick. We
things
like
that you
little
will,
kids, man.
of the
We need
things,
all that. You know what I mean?
of,
But
of
anyway,
the,
follow up question, real quick.
Yeah, they want a woman to be, and I get that, but do you know what that entails from the woman? So you want me to be a piece? That means you're gonna come home, you're gonna express yourself to me, you're gonna to unload on me. I'm gonna be here to listen, to support, to rub your back, do whatever, and that's emotionally taxing on a woman. And I
Yeah, I
don't know if you
understand.
guys understand that
No, I
because
do.
I got my own stuff too. Like I
Yeah, let
have
me.
me.
Yeah. So second part. My other question now becomes, if knowing that that's what most men want, right? On the surface, we have like that basic expectation of what we would like from a woman, right? Um, the second part of that becomes, if that's what men want, and we saying that that's, in a conversation we saying this is what we look for in a woman, right? Do you still say, nah, you got to take this or take that, or do you say, let me work with you on that? You know what I mean? Because when a woman says they have stuff and they have that, the man becomes like an accessory, right? That you add to what you have or your other possessions, right? And now it becomes, are you the one seeking your husband, or is your husband seeking you? You become the aggressor in terms of the pursuer, right? So now instead of the man pursuing you, you pursuing him, and then you have all these things you want him to have. And that becomes the question. Is it that the man pursues the woman, or is it that the woman should pursue the man?
I personally like to be pursued. If I like you, I'll let you know that I like you. But personally, I like being a woman. I like feeling like a woman. I'm a feminine woman. I'm a soft woman. But if you piss me off, I'm gonna let you know. But for the most part, I want peace. I have peace in my life, and I'm very well rounded. So I'm looking for that, and I'm trying to maintain that. So I'm with it. My problem is just finding a man that's willing to get vulnerable or let his guard down or maybe like just be not hurt and not traumatized from his past.
So, if you don't mind me just carefully elaborating and analyzing what was previously said. So, you don't mind a man being vulnerable, correct? You don't mind a man being vulnerable. You don't mind him letting his guard down. But in order to do that, as you displayed earlier, as you mentioned, remember, you don't want a man always throwing that, like you said, it can be emotionally taxing. So, if my question to you is this, what is a certain limit that you reach a point where you need to, like, he needs to reciprocate that same energy? Because remember, we can come home someday. I don't know for all men. I don't speak for all men, but for the men that I know, we can come home, baby, you good? I can be just getting off work. So, baby, you good? Did you eat? I'm the one asking, and I'm the one burnt off of a 12-hour shift. But I'm making sure that you eat. Are you good? Do you need anything? I'm gonna go take a shower and lay down. Or I can pour myself open, be vulnerable, and I'm saying this to say is for a woman's perspective, where do I need to like reach a certain cutoff limit as far as me being vulnerable or me just kind of like being to myself and being a man and being quiet, give me some food and just relax, maybe watch a little TV and get my mind right because I done got my ass whooped all day and I'm just trying to be at peace right now and I'm trying to focus on, is she good? Does she need anything? Did I miss anything? I don't know, but I don't want to be too silent to you because I don't want you to feel like I'm pulling away from you. And since communication and honesty is the biggest thing in a relationship, where do I need to not always put that burden on you about my day?
I would say something. I mean, you can kind of feel a person's vibe. For me, I want to be there though. Like, it's not that I'm not saying that to say. I said that to say that it's emotionally taxing, you know, being there for somebody else. Not to say that I wouldn't do it, and if you need it, I wouldn't be there. But I mean, you can feel out the person in the relationship. It's gonna be moments where you like, what's wrong? You just not looking right. It's gonna be moments where I'm like, what's wrong? You just not looking right. Tell me what's going on. Right. And then that's when you gotta have that conversation. Like, cause I don't know. If you tell me, Dee Dee, I had a rough day today and I just need to be alone for like an hour or something to watch football or get myself together, I'm gonna be like, oh, okay. That's what he needs right now. That's me. Somebody else might get mad, but I get it. Because sometimes I need to be by myself too. But you got to communicate that. If you need a moment, I need to know that you need a moment and why. Because if you need a moment and don't say why you need a moment, I'm going to go in my head and think of why you need a moment. And it might not be a good idea. And that's just, how it is.
So when you say that you spend more time in your head trying to figure things out than more time trying to ask the person something?
So sometimes it depends. I don't want, so you don't want to become a nag and you don't want to be nitpicking about everything. So you choose your battles. So, okay, Dee Dee, you're tripping. Okay, he didn't call you back. Whatever, didn't happen. He was late, blah, blah, blah. So don't trip about it though. Give him a chance to explain. It's about that positive self-talk and trying to change the way you are.
Okay.
Hey, I gotta catch up on a whole lot of these comments. I got Pokemon Trainer says it's the value in the relationship that gets overlooked. We we try too hard to monetize things. Second to none, what's up, bro? Pokemon Trainer. Everybody thinks we're for sale. Um, we have Autumn. Hold on. Them back rubs go a long way. Maintain that with 3 back rubs a day. Okay. And Miss Didi, did you feel like you got anything from this conversation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's good. I have a couple of other sisters that's waiting in the box that want to get in the box. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop you down. I really thank you for coming by, Miss Didi. We love you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Appreciate
appreciate you.
y'all.
All right, have a good
See
night.
y'all later.
Enjoy the combo. All right.
I'm gonna put Miss Be Grateful in the box. Hold on. And Be Grateful, you ready?
Hey,
Sorry,
why
what's up?
why why
I
this
didn't
happening?
realize.
Everybody hold the hearts down. Hold the hearts down. Show some love. Hold the hearts down.
Sure. Hey,
What's going on, Be Grateful?
bro. Hey.
Honeybee say, yeah, have a nice night. Okay. You out, Honeybee? Well, go ahead. How you doing, Be Grateful? How you doing, love?
I'm doing wonderful. How's everyone?
Good,
Doing
good.
good. What you got for us?
I was just listening to the conversation, and this is just me, um, as a woman, having a lot of female friends. I think a lot of times women don't even know what they want. You know what I'm saying? Like, I tell some friends, they tell me, like, I want a guy who's this, or he's moving too slow. And then if you pick up the fake pace, they're like, wait, hold up, he's moving too fast. And I think the reality of the situation is a lot of women need to be honest with themselves. Ask yourself what it is that you really want, for real, for real. Because some of you really don't want a partner. You really don't want a man. You want the comfortability of having someone that's there. And so I think a lot of women are not honest with themselves. Like, it's okay to say, you know what? I really want to be independent by myself, but I really just want some beat every now and again. I mean, just being real. And so that's part of it for me. Um, I think that when I was talking about the notion of, a small majority, right? A small minority of people. So we tend to focus on the negative more than we do the positive, right? We hear the stats 50% of marriages end in divorce. Well, we focus on the 50% that end in divorce, but we don't focus on the 50% that's actually working good. For me, I work, I have a career, but I also like being a woman. And I think with the feminist movement, I feel that it's gone way beyond what it's really supposed to be because we confuse equality with equity, right? And so it was never meant for women to be exactly like a man. I don't want to be exactly like a man. I want to have the same rights and opportunity as a man. So I want to vote like a man can vote. If I have a bachelor's degree, just like he has a degree in the same thing, and we have the same resume, I want to get paid the same. But I don't want to be a man, and I enjoy being a woman. And so I think that's the confusion for like a lot of women. Like they're in a role of being like a man, and it's just like it's okay to be a woman. It's okay to take care of your man. We have this. We're in this, I think, time now where everybody is like, it's about me. It's about self love, and we've really thrown away like just having grace for people. We've thrown away like just kind of like just being fair. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you can love yourself and love him too, and it's not a balance. And I think the problem is not a balance when it comes to that.
Yeah, most definitely.
Agreed.
I think
Well
I
said.
think you hit the nail on the head. That
Mhm.
I think that's exactly the sentiments that most of us
Absolutely.
men have.
Yeah. And I mean, like, we have these standards about, oh, he got to make six figures. To me, I'll take somebody that make $50,000 a year that know how to manage his money than someone that has six figures. Like, and so many men lead with their money because you got one saying, "Oh, you got to do this, you got to do that." Okay, what if he make 250,000? He's absolutely horrible with his money. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a real thing. It's about someone who can manage what they have. Someone who's resourceful. We
So
put so much on the material things that could be here today and be gone tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? What about the character of a person? What about him being honest with him being fair? I don't want nobody that's making six figures and he either knocking me upside down the head or he got a side piece over here. Give me the dude with 50,000 who respects me, who cares for me, who loves me, who shows me that he listens to me over the 150,000 who, I mean, what? And he ain't no good. He ain't no good.
what is happiness? What is your view of happiness? What will make you happy?
Well, someone who listens to me, for me, like, listen, like the type of person that I am, like, I pay attention to whatever man I'm with, I'm paying attention to the things that he don't even know that I'm paying attention to. And so then later on, I do something and it's like, dang, I didn't even tell her to do that. I want someone to be that intuitive with me as I am with them, to respect me, to honor me as I honor them. It has to be being fair. I don't need nobody, catering to me and I'm not doing the same. I just want it to be fair, and just equal.
So do you find happiness in yourself before you find it in somebody else?
Absolutely, because if you're not happy in yourself, you're not going to be happy with anyone because you're going to view everybody through the lens of your own unhappiness. And whatever thing you got going on with yourself, if you don't love yourself, if you don't look at yourself in a positive light, everything somebody says to you is going to be, even if he said, you know what, you're the most beautiful woman on earth, because you're not securing yourself, you're gonna hear that as, oh, he just saying that he probably wants something. And so it's about you have to be at whole and be at one with yourself. And I think you just have so many women that's not at whole and within themselves, and men too, and they're out here, searching when they really need to be fixing themselves. So if you happy, it's not based upon anyone else.
Right. If you don't mind me asking, I've asked this question so many times, but the review and the reaction is what's more important. So, first things first, very intellectual woman. I appreciate you for just gracing us with your knowledge and presence. So, if you don't mind me asking, in your own opinion, what does being submissive mean to you specifically?
being submissive to me is not what most people think. They think they hear it and they automatically think of mate, right? So to me, in a relationship with a man and a woman, right? Being submissive is being able to not want to, knowing how to be able to fall back and be able to be led. You know what I'm saying? And being led doesn't mean that you don't have a voice. It's being able to know how to intellectually give your point of view on a certain decision that needs to be made, but then allowing him to be able to make the ultimate decision. Now, if it's something that is gonna like kill you or detrimental, no. But a lot of things is like you have to know how to be led. And so many people want to be the leader and they don't realize that there's power in power in being led. You know what I'm saying? And a real woman who knows what she has to offer, she's able to be able to sway a man to let him see, this might be the right path in which we want to do. But to me, it doesn't mean like, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. It just means like, hey, if he's telling you like, hey, babe, I really, when I come home from work, I really would like, to have my back rub, right? That's not him demanding it of you, because I'm sure there's things that you want too and that he does. So I believe you submit yourselves one to another, but you have to be able to lead and be okay with someone making a decision. And a lot of us are not okay with somebody making a decision because maybe somebody fumbled the ball once or twice. Like I said, once or twice somebody didn't do something right, and you just throw the whole submission thing, out the window. But it's just really being able to allow someone to lead you.
So let me ask this to piggyback off of that last question. Do you think then now, the man, as far as the woman submitting, right? How is that affecting relationships in the current form? In terms of, is that playing a part in why relationships are not lasting long, or why we can't get together and stay together? How does that come into?
Absolutely. Absolutely, that's a problem. I think one, it requires a man being. I think one thing that I think is really a problem is that we're emasculating men anyway to be in a place where they don't even feel comfortable in being in their manly authority, right? And so I think that is a big problem in relationships because you basically have women, no, this is the way I think it should be. It need to be like this, all that other kind of stuff. And a lot of times we're not even listening. A lot of times, and see, for me, I can speak personally because I was married for 14 years with the same person that I was with since 17 years old. And so, and I'm divorced now, but on this side of divorce, I've been able to look back at certain things and be like, well, you know what? You know, I forced that decision. I didn't really listen to him on this particular decision. And we don't realize how sometimes it can make a man feel lesser than. It can make him feel like, like, dang, she's not hearing anything that I have to say. And so I'm not just speaking like someone without experience. I've been married for 14 years, from 20 to 35 years old. I'm 40 now. And so a lot of times, and for me, it just came from growing up in a household that was ran by men. I grew up in a single mother household who ran everything, and I took that same energy into a relationship, right? And that's not how it should have been. So, yeah, I think that's the reason. Because if we're being honest, we do make emotional decisions a lot of times.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So why is it that when you look at statistics, you mentioned 50% divorce rate? What is the link with the fact that 70% of that is women initiating the divorce?
Oh, I can't say that there's one particular answer to that. I can say that with women leading it, I think the problem is that a lot of us get with men based upon what we view he should be. So we fall in love with the idea of what we think he should be. And so when he doesn't measure up to that, in the timeline for what we think it should have happened expired, then we're like, you know what?
I'm out, right? And that's a real problem. Even when dating, I know a lot of women who will get with a guy with the idea of what the potential of what they think he can be. And the thing that's unfair about that is it may not even be the direction that he wants for his own life, but we decide on our own selves, oh, I think he could be this, he could be that. And then when he doesn't measure up to what we thought that potential was, then it's kind of like, I'm out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that. Sorry.
Do you feel like those expectations that women have is driven by what society say that a woman should have? Do you feel like there's a level of programming that's being done to women in general to say, hey, this is what you need to be looking for? And when that doesn't happen, then it's okay, let's abandon ship.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think so. I mean, just like years ago, and a lot of the requirements that they had, back then wasn't requirements that we have now. Even when it comes to the whole, he got to make more than money than me, that type of thing. I mean, for me, I just have a different viewpoint of life. I've experienced so much in life that I know today I can be up, tomorrow I can be down. So I have to expect that can be the same thing for my man as well. So it's, I think a lot of it is just, it's society driven about, what he needs to have and what she needs to have. And I don't know, it's just kind of crazy to me.
Just to kind of like, I guess, elaborate very carefully, because you hit a lot of key points. The biggest thing I looked at while you were speaking was, for me, the biggest thing is always going to start at home. So even when in the beginning, when I asked you the original submissive question, like seeing my mom or seeing my dad lead the house, how they were like running it, that form of leadership to me was like, okay, I'm a kid. I'm not really thinking innately just on that particular thing, but knowing that they're in charge was my immediate, go-to. But now that I'm getting older in age and I'm thinking to myself, I'm in my teenage years, well, what do I need to look for? Now I'm reaching my 20s. Oh, this is what I'm looking at. Now I'm already in my 30s. Well, that's what they were talking about. So this is why and I'm glad Blue Collar asked that question about the situation as of now, because now I'm looking at, and I've always found it fascinating that the divorce rates, for me, it was so much of it in the naive sense. Nobody's getting what they want. But in the more logical sense, if we're going to be technical about it, no one's willing to sacrifice. We just want the company and the bragging rights. I got you as my woman, you in my arm. I got the bragging rights. I get to, flex. I'm making the bands, I'm making money. I got the woman, I got the life. So it's basically, I'm reaching for the title. For you, maybe it's different, not you particularly, but for the woman, maybe with the woman, it's like the glorification, the glory. I got it. I got the man I want. Y'all couldn't find him, but I found him. And it can go both ways, but then I'm looking at, like, for now to hit the divorce part, who's willing to lead and who's willing to sacrifice? Is anybody acknowledging that on the days that you're low and you're down, I got you. Don't worry about it. It's us. We're going to do this together. It's not, well, I'll help you or I'll lend it to you or I'm going to need it back. Whether it's a friendship, relationship, family, at what point, in my opinion, I've always wanted to ask this, at what point going in, even into a marriage, do people give up the I's for us? Like, when is it going to stop being I and when is it going to start being us? Especially now, which I'm going to be honest, and forgive me for saying this, but I don't believe in marriage in this generation. I don't believe this generation even deserves to know what real marriage is, because they don't even know not what love is. They don't even know what compromise even means.
Facts.
So I don't even think they even need to know what marriage is, because jumping into a marriage that soon, you're only increasing the rate. You're only increasing the headache, the time that's being wasted. So for me, I've always wanted to know, like, for the people that were before me, what point did you give up the I for us? What point did you stop saying it's about me, it's about us?
Very good.
It's about
Very
me
good.
and you. Like, and if you can, any of y'all can answer that. I just always wanted to know, like, I'm only 30 and I do want to find someone. I want to be a husband one day, but I want to understand specifically, when do I stop giving up that, yo, it's about me, I'm living a lot. No, it's about me and you. Yeah. So help me understand. Share some light for me.
Good point. And I wanted to piggyback off of that because a few things are happening here in this conversation. Overall, in terms of what we see happening in society, whether it's what you mentioned, 50% divorce rate, 70% of it being initiated by women. We're not here to point fingers and make any blames, but it brings up the question of does the problem lie, right? But is anyone taking accountability? But for relationships to work, you mentioned one point, Mr. Bowlegged, compromise. Second word, sacrifice. No one wants to compromise. No one wants to sacrifice. It's all about I. So at some point there was a shift because the older generation that you mentioned, they were about us. It was a us thing. The new generation, and I believe it starts with self-love. The concept of self-love. The self-love is selflessness, right? It's selfish versus selflessness, right? It's the opposite of selflessness. You know what I mean? I, me, love myself, learn how to love myself. And this is my testimony of my relationship 20 years later. Person I've been with since 20 years ago. 4 kids, no other kids besides with her. And it took sacrifice and it took compromise. People want a good relationship, but they're not willing to put in what it takes for it to work. They're not willing to make any sacrifice. The word sacrifice in itself is like, oh no. And then the word compromise, you hear women saying, why'd you settle? You shouldn't settle. Her saying, even with me, probably 20 years, is to another woman, you settled. You should, you know what I mean? So compromise, sacrifice, nothing good comes easy. And as long as you find the person that's willing to also compromise, you will make the compromise too. But men don't necessarily yield to the woman. The woman in turn yields to the man. Then over time, a man sees that and he starts to yield. You know what I mean? And that's where it goes to what you said earlier, where now we each are doing for each other. You know what I'm saying? But when you hear women speak, not all women, it's always more of a man has to be like this, a man has to do this, a man has to be. So you make all these conditions for a person which essentially you want him to submit to you without realizing that, right? And when you get with him, he doesn't know how to submit because he's typically naturally the one that, you know.
But it's not necessarily in his nature to submit. And that's where the headbutt is coming from. Like I've heard a lot of men say this, like she has so many masculine tendencies, like I don't want to be with another man, you know. And you've a lot of sisters, they get out in society, and they have to operate in a certain energy. And when they do come with a man, it's hard to relinquish that right, that you know, the ability to make decisions on our own and not have to seek counsel from another person. So, but at the same time, what I was saying earlier, I do understand certain situations. Like you can't, like the clip you had sent me, man of God. It talked about why we had such a big discrepancy amongst black women, because black women lose their men to prison, homosexuality, homicide. There's a few numbers. So that even with the small, even though they outnumber us by what it was like a couple million, they outnumber us by a couple million. That small amount that's left is almost cut in half, and the availability of men that's there is like, you know, little to none. So we have all these sisters that's single and doing all these great things, and and for me, I think there's some ownership that's there for brothers too, because like you can't be living in your mom. For me, this is me. You can't be living in your mom's house. You can't, you know, not have any reasonable income and expect to be able to step to a sister that already have X, Y, and Z. Because what that, for me, I'm not a sister, but I'm speaking for the sisters or playing devil's advocate. Is be like, well, you haven't displayed the characteristics to say that you are able to like step in the role and allow me to relinquish this role to you. So at least for the brothers that's in the live, at least you have these basics. You know what I'm saying? These basics are requirements to be able to manage money, to be able to run a household, to have experience with kids, and be able to be emotionally supportive. So there's a lot that brothers have. And I think the sisters don't necessarily all the time give us credit for having the ones that do have those characters. We don't necessarily. I guess we do. We're there, but we're not like Be Grateful said earlier. We're not the ones that get in the shine. You know what I'm saying? The other ones that's in the bad is what gets the shine. Anyway. But anyway, I'm backed up on these comments. I don't see anybody else want to jump in the box. We getting down to the wire. What time is it? We got about 5 more minutes.
So I think with what you, like you said, the feminist movement, shifting the mindset of the modern woman, who with income, money, resources, they become somewhat to a certain level, and I'm not saying all women, they develop an ego, you know what I mean? And this ego, sometimes it's hard for them to put it aside, because I could see that maybe if you have money, you worry somebody might want to come in and take some of that money, which I can understand that, you know what I mean? To where you got your guard up, that you can't come in here and possibly now you got to pay alimony. 50% of your money is gone. And it's the same reason why men are very careful as to who they decide to bring in too, because again, you could come in and 50 of it is gone. Even if you don't take 50, if I have a child with you, then now I have to pay child support, and half of my money is gone. So we as men have a lot of things that's been put in place that puts us in a lot of compromised situations, to where one slip up, half of your money is gone. You know what I mean? And I can see that for a woman who has that, to where she don't want to bring in a person who's not on that caliber because she could lose her wealth. But if ultimately the goal was to find a good man, right, and that's your foundation for the potential person you're looking for, then you build on that, and not maybe the superficial, the vanity, you know what I mean? Because the vanity, at the end of it all, you leave it here, right? But these relationships you build live on even when you pass on, you know what I mean? And so relationships are way, to me, in my opinion, is relationships with each other is way more valuable than anything you can possess. Any money in the world. Look at Steve Jobs. He had all the money in the world, but couldn't buy a little bit of time, right? He just wanted not even a minute. So, there's other things way more valuable than that money. So if a woman comes and says, I have this and I have that, the question for us is, are you a good person? That's it. You know what I mean? We don't care about anything past, are you a decent person? You know what I mean?
And for me, it's about security. It's not so much about what he make, but the bottom line for me is someone that I feel secure with. That I feel, if I feel secure, I can definitely submit, because I know like he got us. I know that he's gonna, make sound, decisions. So, you just want to feel, secure, so.
Amen. Amen. And we like right at the 1 hour limit. So yeah.
Word. That's what's up.
That was pretty dope. For the thank y'all for coming through.
Thank you.
Who else is here? So just shout out to everybody that came through. Miss Didi, if you're still here, thank you for coming through. That was dope. Be grateful. Oh, you be grateful. Honeybee. Pokemon trainer. Selflessness is a big thing.
Pokemon want them back rubs, okay?
Getting them background.
That's what we're saying about the background. Yeah. That's what's up. Man. Appreciate you. This was a good conversation. I love the dialogue. Definitely. We need more of these type of conversations.
Just let me know what days. I got you. Just let me know.
Q33. I don't even know how to pronounce your name, love. We definitely do. Thank you for coming through, Mama. I don't even know how to pronounce your name.
Everybody fade everybody that's in here. You know what I'm saying?
Queen Ashanette. I said that right.
I already got Big Grape favorite. Okay.
Thank you. I'm gonna hit you with the fave.
Got y'all faved up.
I'm gonna hit you with the fave, Mr. Bootleg.
I already got Queen for
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I appreciate y'all coming by. Thank y'all for coming through. We right at the hour. I didn't want to go over the hour because these things could get. I think last week we stayed on here for like maybe 2 hours. I said I was gonna watch the time, so we'll watch the time. Thank you for coming by.
Still be watching football. You got me on here on tag.
Right. Thursday nights is a really bad night.
Man, Thursday night football sucked this year, but I'm gonna watch it though.
All right, now y'all hold it down.
Y'all be good. Y'all have a good night.
All right, peace.
Yeah, your sister killed it.